It's pretty fascinating, actually. So multiple allele traits are inheritance that involves one trait determined by 3 or more alleles. Okay, so it's not skin color, it's not eye color, hair color, where there's multiple genes that determine a trait. This is one gene space on a chromosome, but there's lots of options, okay? So an example that we're going to do is blood type. So A, B, O, those are the 3 multiple alleles blood type. There are a few others out there. Other one would be Labrador retrievers. You know how like there's chocolate lab, there's black lab, and there's like a yellow whitish lab. Well, those are 3 options for coat color. So there's some different types we find, like in the challenge problems. There's a couple different other genes that can affect coat color. So like if you've got these genes, this is going to cause this to happen. So if you notice, like in different dogs, that you have different patterns, you know, of their coat color. They're not all solid, or cats aren't all solid. So there's multiple genes that can actually influence it. But for this, it's just straight up. If this is a chromosome, and this is a chromosome, there's one little spot on the chromosome that would be the blood type gene. But you have different options. So you can have an A, you can have a B, you can have an O, you can have OO. So, you know, that's what this means. Okay. All right, so here's how it kind of lays out. So we're going to do the phenotype is the blood type. And these are possible genotypes that determine it. And then here is the picture, the diagram. Okay. So what are the 4 blood types?
A, B, A, B, O.
A, B. Okay. So we're not going to say that someone has AO blood. They're going to have A blood. Or the only blood type that has 2 letters will be A and AB. Otherwise, those are our 4 options. Now, this doesn't include positive or negative. That's RH factor. So they mentioned that in that Amoeba Sisters, RH factor, positive, negative. That's a totally separate gene located at a different place. Okay, it's not on that. So I'll show you how that works. We'll kind of mention it, but you won't have any problems where you have to do both at the same time. You won't have that on your exam at all. I probably should add one of those in a challenge problem because it's really pretty simple, but they're not going to ask you that. Okay, so what are the possible options they mentioned? So to get A, how can you get that blood?
Capital I, capital A, capital I, capital A.
Okay, right. So you're going to have like AA or AO. They most likely will put the eyes on your test. So you might as well write them out this way, so that way you're familiar. So we've got that, or you're exactly right, the little I, which I'm going to put the imaginary O up there. You can or can't. It doesn't matter to me. Y'all are smart enough to remember, but usually I do it at the beginning just so that way everybody remembers what it means. So when we're doing the problems, we're going to ditch the I's and just write the AA or the AO. Okay. So here's the picture. If you have A blood, you're going to have A markers on the cell membrane. So you're going to have those protein markers that makes your blood A on the red blood cell. All right. What are our options for B?
Capital I, B, I, B.
All right. Or Yeah, same pattern. So same will be true. Instead of A's, you're just going to have B markers that make your blood a B blood type. So you have a gene in your genome that determines what blood type you are. You can't change that. You can't say, well, I don't want to be this blood type. No, you didn't acquire it, you know. So you didn't, it's totally in your genes. So AB is pretty simple because we said it's one of each. And this is called codominant. One's not dominant over the other. So what would the markers look like on that? You have some of both. Or you'd have an equal number. So you got A, B. All right. So that leaves O. So what is the genotype for O? OO. Or little I, little I. You can put like little baby O's in there. So picture, nothing. Not one thing. They don't have any of those protein markers. So this one's considered recessive. But now let's talk blood donation. So if somebody was A blood type, there are two bloods that they can get. Which of these two could they get? Their own, right, their own type, A or O. Because it doesn't have any markers, all of these folks plus O can have O. So O is considered the universal donor. If you have O blood type, they really, really, really want you to donate because it's a safer option. Now, that takes us to the positive and the negative part. And I'll show you how that works separately down here. But overall, that's the universal donor because there's no proteins here that your body, your immune system's going to pick up and say, that doesn't belong. Well, there's nothing there. Who do you think up here is the universal acceptor? Who can get all of these blood types?
AB.
AB, you're exactly right. Because it's got both markers, it's good with getting A, B, and O, and AB. So while this is a rare blood type, there's more options for them to get that blood, which is kind of cool. If you have O blood type, who can you receive blood from?
No.
Only O. So while you can donate to people, you can only get O blood. So let's put this one, is the universal acceptor. So this really speaks to why it's important for us to have blood drives and for us to donate blood when we're able, because there's a huge need, especially when there's lots of, catastrophes every day. And that could just be, having units for someone who was in a car wreck at a hospital. So RH factor. So RH factor equals the plus minus system of blood type. Plus is dominant over negative. So the person that is the absolute universal donor would be an O positive person. They would have still positive markers, but an O negative person would be this. So O negative is your absolute donor. So if you have O negative, they're going to be calling you to donate. And if you watch hospital shows or like Chicago Med or any of those, and you'll hear it, or Grey's Anatomy, and they'll say, I need a unit of O neg. That's what they're talking about. They know that that's their go-to blood to give someone when they don't have time to type it. Okay. Does that make sense? Kind of? Yes, no? Okay. All right, so I'm going to stop this.